What is going on, you savages? Last night we talked about Ravencoin and why they needed to implement some changes and some upgrades to the network in order to support security token offerings. They want to become a platform for STOs to launch on, right? SEC compliant and all that stuff. And that's what we talked a little bit about last night. Tonight we're going to look at maybe like do a scenario or a walkthrough or a use case. We're going to talk about some use cases among some other things. So we're going to get into that right after this. Before we get started with all that great content, let's go ahead and take a look at the market. It's always fun to check out the market. Now it's going to not come up, but you can see behind me it is green, so it's a good day. Maybe this will come up in a minute. Until then, we can go over to CoinMarketCap and check that out. Lots and lots and lots of green, looking good. I like it. All right, just a real quick glance at it here, and then I wonder if watch list comes up. No, I don't know. This website's been acting, Coin360's been acting a little goofy lately. So let's just look up Raven over here on CoinMarketCap. I think it's 40. It actually jumped up one yesterday. It was ranked 43 or 44. Now it's 43. It's up just a tad today, so that's looking good. Yeah. Lots of good things coming out of Ravencoin lately. So they do need to get their stuff together with regards to the GPU mining community that basically launched them and held them up for so long. And again, that's going to be probably another video of mine because I can just really go off on that. But we'll just stick with what we're looking at tonight, which is actually good stuff with regard to Ravencoin. So let's see where we're at. I think that there is a potential for, I had this up, and here it is, I can see every asset, every investment asset class, such as real estate, currency and money market, stocks and bonds, commodities, all being tokenized in the future. And this is actually what the end goal, the end game, the master plan for Ravencoin is. They want to become the platform for issuing and managing assets, where assets are anything from tokenized collectibles or artwork to a skyscraper in New York. Okay, so it can literally be anything. And I think that one of the biggest use cases for a token asset would be something like real estate. I think that is a huge area that could benefit, a lot from the tokenization of that asset. So I do think that this is a good plan. I think that they are on the right track, and along those lines, they had to or they wanted to also become a security token offering platform, which is what led to them doing the upgrades that they've recently done through the soft fork, and they are implementing some things called restricted assets and tags. And then along with all that, there's voting and rewards and some other cool things. So that's what they actually soft forked to support. All right, just to give you a real quick example here of kind of give you an idea of what tokenizing an asset would look like, a real world asset. If you go to ravencoin.shop, they actually have a coin here, and I just ran across this whenever I was doing a little bit of research. Kind of neat. I think I'd seen it before. I probably should buy one, support things like this, but I don't have one yet. They're $25 basically, and what's cool about this is that you send them an address, right? The Raven token address, and this is where they are going to send you. Like we saw last night, I was kind of giving you an example with the whole GPU and the hosting and how that was going to work as my use case for this whole asset platform, tokenized asset platform that Ravencoin is. And this is just another thing that they did. I also told you about the Bitsby Trippin and his Not a Flamethrower implementation of this platform as well, the Ravencoin network. And this is just another one of those examples that's kind of neat. So you send them an address and they're going to send you, I would assume it would look something like this. It's like a certificate of authenticity. Looks like they're limiting this run of 1,000 pieces, and they'll have a serial number on it. So I'm guessing that they'll send you this probably digitally on the Ravencoin network as an asset, and probably a paper one as well, because it looks like they have like a box here. It probably has the certificate in there as well, but they send you one on the Ravencoin network and probably one in the box as well. It could be just the coin in the box, I don't know. But this is really cool because you can also add engraving and get them to put a wallet address on there. Not a private key, just a wallet address. And let's say that this wallet address was one that you mined to or that you used as your main wallet. Kind of neat. I think that is that's kind of cool. You know, that way you at least don't lose your wallet address. So that is pretty neat the way that they do this. They have you confirm it so that you can't say no, I didn't mean to put that address, I meant to put this other address or whatever. So pretty cool. So this is just an example of tokenized assets on a blockchain. I think it's kind of neat. This is a cool little implementation here. All right, so that's just a real quick example, and that's not really restricted assets or anything like that. This is just basic. This has been around on Ravencoin since late 2018. So this capability. So yeah, it's just an example of what Ravencoin is trying to do, and one of the things that you can use the platform for. So I thought that was kind of neat. And to create these assets, like what they are showing here, they are going to use IPFS, the Interplanetary File System, I would assume. And one of the to create the assets, you're probably not going to see someone sitting down to, like, you're not going to see your attorney or your financial manager or something like that going over into the Qt desktop wallet and generating an asset. You're probably going to see front ends, some better user experience, user interface, front ends created for creating tokens or creating assets and creating restricted assets now. And you're probably going to see these things pop up. And one of the examples is Mango Farm. They have Mango Farm assets, and it's a website that's pretty slick. It's got a pretty good user interface for creating assets and managing assets. They've got several different things here. You can look at their Medium post right here talking about the website and how the upgrades and what they've done to it. Pretty cool website. We're going to take a look at it here in just a moment. So this is what the front end looks like, and this is basically what Ravencoin's tagline here, tokenize the world one asset at a time. I mean, it's Mango Farms, but you can see how that applies to Ravencoin as well. And from the front end here, mangofarmassets.com, you've got a wallet, so you can create a wallet, you can access your wallet, it's all online. You can use it in existing seed or Trezor mode. I guess it interfaces with that. It also has testnet, so you can do it on either, so that's kind of neat. Then you've got the builder, the asset builder. So this is more likely what someone that is creating a SEC compliant security token offering would use. They would use something like this to actually create it. In my mind, I can't wrap my head around the fact that an attorney would download the whole blockchain onto their computer, and I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I really don't see them going in here and going through here and creating assets this way. I just don't. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think that that's the way it's going to work. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below or in the chat there. I'm not looking at the chat just yet because I got a lot to cover. So, all right, let's see here. So this is like an interface that you would see created for creating the assets. kind of cool. They've done a lot of great work on the mango farm side of the house here. You know, you're going to see more user-friendly assets like this, or interfaces like this, such as this. So let's look at, before we get too lost here, let's look at some use cases. So here is Tron Black's, this is about a year ago, talking about tags and restricted assets and what they are for and how they apply to you know, be compliant and the whole reason behind it and how it's going to work. So the solution that they come up with is 2 new Ravencoin token types. I'm going to be doing some reading because it's just easier to read through the use cases. There's only 2 of them on the website here, or on this Medium post. But to solve the problems that they saw with security token offerings, they're going to have 2 new token types. One starts with a $sign and represents a completely new token type, which is a restricted assets, and that's our restricted asset, and that is what was recently enabled, okay, through the soft fork. Restricted assets only move to tagged addresses, and this can get really confusing really quick. And you can see here I did a little bit of playing around with this and created some assets over here, tag and a qualifying asset. I don't think we're going to, I think we're going to try to do a whole new setup here for this stream, just so that we can get new information in here, because the first time I did it, it's not clicking with me how it's going to work. So maybe I thought maybe going over these use cases down here might help. So that's what we're going to do. The other type of asset or token type starts with a $sign, or I'm sorry, a £, hashtag, and is a tag. Tags, tag tokens, I think this is supposed to say tag tokens, can only be transferred by the issuer. Tag tokens can be sent or revoked only by the tag issuer. And it looks like, yeah, a master asset or the main asset will be the issuer, I think is the way that this is going to work. When a tag token is sent to an address, the metadata will provide enough information on chain to allow anyone, such as regulators, to know where the KYC, AML, and PII, personally identifiable information, is stored. So you got know your customer, anti-money laundering, and personal identifiable information. So where that data is stored, and this allows for foolproof audits and perfect accountabilities. All right, so let's talk about some use cases real quick. Let me look at the chat, see what's going on over here. What is up, Brandon? Jay Bohannon, Shuby, what's up? Thanks for stopping by. What's up, Serpent? Thanks for stopping by. I know I'm going off on a tangent here talking about assets and Ravencoin stuff, but I think it's, like I said last night, I think it's important for people to understand this stuff. And it's important for me to understand it too, because I want to learn about it as well. So that's kind of like the point of all this. As far as the use cases goes, this is all from this post, this Medium post. The use cases for restricted assets are limitless, but a few are listed here to inspire the imagination. So the use case number 1 is a subscription-based asset. So if you think about games, and this might, Brandon, I know if you're still listening here, this might actually, you might be able to think about this in a way that might make sense as far as how you could use Ravencoin with a game token or inside of a game. But it says here, upon payment of a subscription fee, your address gets a tag. Okay, so that's the restricted assets and tags. This is talking about the tag itself. And the tag name is subscription_game_X. Game tokens are created, such as sword of X, spell of Y, and those start with a $sign, so those are restricted assets, right? Because if you go back up here, this says restricted asset. So the $sign indicates restricted asset. Okay, then those honor the subscription game X tag. So if your address, if your Ravencoin address has that tag, then you could be issued the Sword of X or the Spell of Y restricted assets. All right, so some things are starting to click now. I'm starting to kind of get it. All right, there could even be subscription tiers. These tokens move only among subscribers. If the subscription expires, the tokens still belong to the holder and could be sold, but the player can't receive more if the subscription game X has been removed from their address. The tokens can be sold and transferred to any subscriber, even by a non-subscriber that earned or purchased them during their subscription. So even if the tag subscription game X was removed from the address, they will still hold those tokens, the Sword of X or the Spell of Y, but they won't receive any additional ones because they no longer have the subscription. And they can sell them, they can move them, they can send them from one person to another. So, okay, that kind of makes sense. Starting to get it a little bit. Let me see if Brandon, if you're still in here, I want to show you something here real quick. This is totally off topic, but not totally off topic. I want to show you something because I've tried to get with you a couple times. You're a busy guy. I created for you a Brandon Coin asset a really long time ago, and I need a Ravencoin address from you that supports assets so I can send this to you. Okay? Me and Red Panda worked on this together, and at the same time, I don't know if you were moving, I don't remember what was going on, but I tried to get with you on that. I was going to send it to you, so I need that. Just give me, somehow provide me with an address, a Ravencoin address of yours that supports assets, and I will send you that that asset, the Brandon Coin asset. All right, let's see what it looks like over here. But it doesn't show like who owns it or anything like that. Because that's not how it works. But I do want to show you that it is here, right? So it is an actual thing. Yeah, it was 8 months ago that I created it. So June 6th of last year, Brandon Coin. So yeah, give me an address and I will get this to you as soon as possible. It's actually on my phone Ravencoin wallet, so I could send it to you from there, from pretty much any time. So all right, anyway, all right, totally off track here. If you're still listening, Brandon, make that a priority. Give me that address so I can get this squared away, so I can sleep at night. All right. Let's get back to the use cases. All right, so use case number 2, this one gets a little bit more complicated. It is talking about a security token that complies with regulatory rules when operating in peer-to-peer mode. And apparently that is something that is not clearly defined by the SEC, how that will work, or if it will work, or if it's allowed, or anything. So for this use case, the primary consideration is whether the transferee is allowed to hold the token under a set of rules that have morphed over the years. While these rules began in a time when information asymmetry was at a high between the issuer and the potential purchaser, the rules still apply at a time when anyone can look up information on their mobile phone. As things stand today, in early 2019, or actually whenever this was written, it was early 2019. As it stands today, the SEC has not provided clear guidance on whether a security token can operate in peer-to-peer mode. And what they mean is whether or not I can just hold the security token that is considered a security without any KYC. I think that's what they're referring to. So let's see, how does it describe this? Oh, okay, so the whitelisted addresses are tagged. So it says the conservative approach is to ensure that peer-to-peer operation is restricted to addresses that have been whitelisted or tagged and for which some entity has done KYC AML on that address. Okay. So I think that they're talking about like not a third party, like some third party that would manage the security, the STO. So this is peer-to-peer, but with KYC on the address that has the token. All right. Yeah, I get totally confused like really quick. All right, so let's see. For this use case, the best practice when using restricted, all right, I got that already. So as an example, all right, and I think that this is kind of an incomplete example. I read this earlier and it didn't really click with me. But it says in this example, a group, this is the example that they're given, a group of trusted verifiers get together and operate under the token name USKYC. All right, so there's a group of KYC people, right, or companies that are going to operate under that group, under that token. The token will be managed by the consortium and only trusted, regulated verifiers. Once the verifiers have verified the identity and done proper KYC, they will send one of their tokens, this USKYC, to the address of the user. So if I was to have a Ravencoin address and I needed to get KYC on that address, then I would work with that consortium, right, and get the KYC portion done. Then, once they are satisfied that I have KYC'd with them, then they would send me this token to that address that I KYC'd. And then, let's see, a user could have an address with tags from multiple verifiers. Accredited individuals might have several tags. So you can see down here they give some examples of how you could have more than one, a combined. You know, there's some and or not logic that you can have. You know, you have to say you have to have these two. You know, for example, depending on the type of KYC you're doing. You know, I guess how intense it is. I guess that this one right here is, they mentioned DEA down here, but again, this seemed really incomplete example because it starts talking about right here, it starts talking about Uber. We will use Uber as our example security token. The issuer of Uber will specify the tags needed. This can be specified in one simple tag that must be present or a collection of tags with some simple and or not logic. So, I mean, I guess that's what this is referring to, but it kind of left it right there and it almost seems like it's incomplete to me. But so I did go a little bit longer on going through this than I actually wanted to, and that means that probably what I'm going to do is probably end it right here. We went over a lot. I know I rambled a little bit and I went off on Ravencoin a little bit, but so what I want to do is I want to get an example. So I want to build like just an example. Okay, so I want to have like the KYC people, or if we're not going to use that example, basically build a fake structure or an example structure of you know, to make a really good use case example and be able to actually explain it, how it would work in the real world, right? So hit me up in the comments, hit me up in the chat right now, and I'll stay on here for a few more minutes because Ravencoin doesn't come on until 10. So I'll chat with you guys about this, and maybe you might have already been talking about it. So I'll see that in a minute. But I really want to get something together so that we can go through, because I already have the wallet. This is testnet wallet here. You can see that up here, wallet testnet. And we can play around with this. And what would be really cool is if some of you guys would create a testnet address or get this testnet wallet running and grab an address and send it to me so that we can actually transfer these assets and maybe do our own version of KYC, AML. I mean, we could do the whole subscription thing. We could do a VIP access. I mean, we could make it to where we're like starting a nightclub or something like that, and people who have the VIP access token, they get bottle service for free or whatever. There's all kinds of stuff that we could do. So, again, imagination is your only limit with this stuff. So give me some ideas. Let's kick it around and figure something out, because I really want to get something that makes a lot of sense and maybe even exercises all of the capabilities of the restricted assets, tags, voting, messaging, all that stuff. I would like to incorporate all of it if we could. So I'm going to put a little bit of brain power to it to try to come up with my own, but it would help if you guys kind of throw some stuff out there. I showed you a couple of examples of how the assets are already used, but we're going a little deeper because we're doing restricted assets and tags so that we're compliant with securities laws and all that stuff. So I think it would be cool to do a really not legit, but a really in-depth, example, and really go hard on it. So let's see if you are talking about this stuff over here. All right, so Serpent says, I would like to use assets to attach to vehicle mods, so if you sell that vehicle, you can transfer those assets as proof of authentic parts that were used. That's a really good example. That's solid. I'll have to think about that a little bit, because you would have to. I mean, most of the mod parts are going to be, if they're aftermarket purchase, they're probably going to have a serial number, right? So there are some identifying characteristics of the actual asset. And then, what's cool about that is also, if you had that, you could also do like a maintenance record, and all that could be stored in IPFS. So for example, let's say that I used to be a gearhead whenever I was a teenager. I'm not not that much anymore. But let's say that you did some maintenance on a turbo, right? I don't know if you replaced the bearings on them or what, but I don't know if you can do that. But let's say that you did, then you could actually log that into IPFS and attach it to the asset as like a maintenance record of when it was done, what type of bearings you used, how long it took. You could document all of it, put pictures in there, whatever you wanted to. And then if someone buys that turbo, or you sell the car or whatever with the turbo on it, then you could transfer that asset to the owner or the new owner, right? And then they would now own that token or that asset that identifies that particular part. And then it's a permanent record forever, immutable, all that stuff, all that blockchain stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's very cool. You could definitely do again, imagination, I know VeChain had to do with their own, I think they have their own barcodes and stuff. So in this case, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure that that's how they work. In this case, you wouldn't have to have that. You could make your own. You could do it however you wanted. Your own identifying marks, or whatever. I mean, they're using the Ravencoin network already for, what was the name of that company? I'm not going to remember, but it's artwork, digital artwork. I actually did a show on it. I did a video on it. Golly. Nevermore, I think was the name of it. Nevrmore. Anyway, so they do digital artwork, right? So what they do is, let's say that they create a picture, or they do some artwork, they have a picture, they have it tokenized on the Ravencoin blockchain, and then if you purchase that artwork from them, then they would transfer that token that represents that artwork to your Ravencoin address. And and then not only could they track that so that they know what address, it's not KYC AML, they don't know who it is, they just know the address. Then like if you it could go so far as to, if you were to find that someone was using that artwork illegally, right? Let's say copyright type information or copyright situation, then you would have a leg to stand on because you've got the token that shows that you own that artwork, right? But again, you would have to have those legal entities honor this type of situation where you have a tokenized asset, right? I think that there's bridges there. I think that all that stuff is being worked on. I mean, it has to be, because I believe that even right now, if you were to sell, I know that there's titles and stuff involved, but if you were to sell a car, you can write down on a piece of paper and sign it, I think. I don't know, maybe I saw this in a movie or something, but I'm pretty sure you can. I know I've sold a car, and the only thing I did, I think we wrote a receipt. I think we just wrote it down on a piece of paper, signed it. I'm almost positive that that's all we did. So if the police, if the legal entities honor that, then they would surely honor, a blockchain immutable ledger, right? You would think. All right, so yeah, I can go on and on about this. This has always interested me about Ravencoin. I think it's a super cool feature, goal of theirs to become this platform. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think about Ravencoin. If you thought this was interesting or at least somewhat informative. I know I kind of got off on, I really wanted to go through an example tonight, but we did kind of, broach the subject of use cases. So that's good. And I think we're going to get some conversation started so that we can kind of come up with, together, we can come up with like an example and really implement it. I think that would be neat. So I'll think about it some more. I'll think about the car thing. That's a good idea. Maybe we'll do more than one. I don't know. We've got the rest of the week. We've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, or Wednesday and Thursday. I should be live Friday, but Friday's usually like a throwaway thing where we do, whatever, news and whatnot. So let's head over to, let's do that, Serpent. I think it's solid. I think it's something that we can definitely look at. Yes, Shubi, if your wallet is a year old, you need to update it. I've got videos on how to do that on Ravencoin. All right, so let's head over to Brandon Coin. I will see you guys tomorrow night, same time. I would like to do the use case tomorrow, if we could, if we can get through it and work through something tomorrow with some really good examples. Maybe we can do that tomorrow. If not, we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll do it live. I don't know. But let's head over to Brandon Coin and do the Savage raid. I will see you all over there. Stay savage, everybody.